How you doing, YouTube? If you find my videos interesting, I apologize for the delay, but life itself kind of settled in the last couple months. We had a family vacation, work was a little bit busy, and getting ready for school for the kids. And actually the Panzer project had been complete, just needed to do a final drive around the yard. But as you can tell by the leaves on the ground, that will be coming shortly, because I'll be winterizing that in my 57 RJ35, because winter's coming. But I wanted to show you what I've just picked up. I actually picked it up today. It is a 1956 RJ35. Kind of an interesting story on how I got this. It happens every once in a while, not that often though. A little over a year ago, I was at a tractor show in Connecticut. Had one of my RJ35s there. Got to talking to a nice gentleman. I'm not going to mention his name, but he had indicated he had an RJ35 sitting in a barn. Had it for a lot of years. I asked him if he wanted to sell it. He indicated at that point in time no. So I scribbled my name and number on probably an old receipt from McDonald's or something like that. I have no idea, but I gave him my name and my number. And usually 9 times out of 10, that's it. You never really hear from anybody. But fast forward a year plus later, I get a phone call this week from the gentleman. He indicated that he had my name and number, met him at the show, and that he was thinking about selling his RJ35 now. Set a time, I went to go see it today, and this is it. Now, I paid a little bit less than market value for this tractor. I gave him a fair offer. He accepted it. He was nice enough to leave a little, what they call meat on the bone, for the tractor. But after really looking at it, I was really kind of impressed with what it was and what I paid for it. So I'm thinking this one might stick around. I might actually get this one up and running for next year as my show tractor to ride around on. But here it is. It does have some issues. We'll talk about those issues very shortly, and let's take a look at it. Now, it's a 1956 RJ35, and why or how do I kind of narrow it down to a specific year? And it is this. The frame. The frame is a sheet metal frame, which is only used in 56. WheelHorse, I don't know if the Pond family was trying to chintz out at this point in time, but they changed in 56 to a sheet metal frame for a short period of time. You can see there's some issues, we'll talk about those in a second, but overall the frame's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's got some classic, somebody goes bananas with a drill bit, but that's pretty standard with RJ35s for some reason, as you can tell. Okay, so I may weld up a few of them, I may not. Next thing that's really cool about this is it's a no-name hood. So we know this is an earlier 56, possibly, because the no-name hoods were 55 for the most part, not 100%. But so it's got a 55-ish hood on a 56 frame. We have, the hood is not caved in. It is dipped a little bit, but nothing like the last one I had, which was like, you probably could have used it as a swimming pool. Original gas tank. Real nice. I don't know if we can see inside that. Probably not. There is some bad gas in there, but it's squeaky clean in there. It's amazing how nice it is. One of the tank straps is broken off, but they actually did a pretty good job. I mean, yes, they did drill a hole in the hood, but they kept the original tank strap. They just kind of bent it over and put a screw in there. So I mean, that's workable. I might even be able to fix that. Original gas tank, real nice, clean, not all rotted or anything. Does have a little crack down there, but we'll just put a piece of band iron across that to really strengthen that up. Steering column is real nice. And then we have the original iron steering wheel. And what's real nice about this one, there's no cracks. Nobody ever welded up this wheel. It's just a real nice, clean, original wheel. Usually the spokes are broken, somebody snot welded it all together. But this one's not the case. Real nice. Do have a couple extra holes, like namely this big one. There's an extra hole here. But, you know, that's classic. Original throttle cable and arm is gone, but oh well. not an original switch, clearly not an original motor, but all that stuff is real easy to fix. We have a brake kit on it, which we'll talk about that C-clamp in a second. Real nice. I mean, this is probably one of the nicest set of front rims that I've had other than my prototype. My prototype has a set of front rims that are just amazing, but I think this one is probably second place when it comes to condition of rims. I mean, we've got some mildew and shit on those, but other than that, those black rims are real nice. So I mean, the tires are beautiful, they're all dry cracked. It is missing the lift arm, the implement lift arm. It is missing that. It is missing the lift cable, and it is missing the hitch, which is down in there. So it is missing a few parts, but all in all, nothing that I can't fix or make. So we can get that all back together. Front end's real nice. Does have the classic. Let's see if we get a good shot on it. Yeah, see how this thing's bent? That's a classic thing of oversteer. So we'll have to heat this up and straighten it out. Not a big deal. That'll get rid of it. Underneath looks good. I was happy with that. You can see all those friggin' holes. I just don't understand what people do that for. It's like, what the fuck were you thinking? Excuse my expression, sorry. But, so we got, so the very drive's in place, looks good. There is a lot of slop in the, oops, sorry. There's a bunch of slop in this, so we'll have to take it apart, rekey it like I did the last one. Not a big deal, I've done it a bunch of times. Rear rims, real nice. Rear tires, real nice. Now here we go. Here's some interesting stuff. Number one, the C-clamp. What is the C-clamp doing? The C-clamp is actually holding the bracket here for the brake band. Well, the reason why they have a C-clamp, somebody snotted a little weld here and a little bit of weld there, but these are not supposed to be welded. Right here, there's supposed to be a threaded piece sticking out for the gear case, sticking out of the gear case cover, and that's the center hold down. And that bolt, nut and bolt, is actually what's supposed to hold this bracket in place. So we're gonna have to, you can see the nut on the back side there. So we know that the stud is there, the main gear is being supported by that, but we need to fix that. So the gear case cover has to come all apart. There is this thing here holding the axle in place, and this is not this particular fix, but this is a situation that I've seen on a couple tractors. What happens is with these sheet metal frames, the weld, which is only usually about that long, holding this axle onto the frame, you know, with a, say, a full figured individual, puts a lot of stress on that. That thing snaps. Obviously it must have broke, twisted this thing up, and then must have snapped off the backing plate here, because they've put some kind of piece here with some screws. So we'll take all that off, we'll fix it. It looks like it's been braze welded. Yeah, it has. It's been braze welded, so we'll have to fix all that, get that straightened out. That's not a big deal. We do have a little broken bolt here, but no big deal. Take that off, weld that all up, we'll drill and tap it. We'll have to check the paws, check the teeth like we've done before. Swap this seat spring around, which is kind of interesting because there's only one bolt provision for the seat spring. Should have two, but when you look at it, it looks pretty like stock. It's not, I don't know, it's just weird. It does have the two square openings for the carriage bolt. Seat's real nice shape, not rusted up. You know, this obviously is original paint. Nobody repainted this. Original bolt. So overall, it's a nice little tractor. I mean, I've had other tractors that are a heck of a lot worse, and I paid a heck of a lot more for. So I'm pretty happy with this one. It's pretty cool. You know, this thing must have bent 100 times. So what they did is they just welded another piece of bar stock to it just to give it strength. So I don't know what I'll do with that. Maybe I'll cut it off. Maybe I'll even just replace this whole piece like I've done before. Done that before. Oh, if you remember my video on adjustment, And I told you people do some really crazy things with these things in order to get these adjustment bars. I mean, look at this thing. It's not even close. And then, like I told you, they bend them around. The guy was interesting. He was saying how the Vari-Drive kept rubbing the belt guard, so they took the belt guard off. And I'm like, well, I didn't say this to him, but I'm like, well, this is the cause right there. Reverse disc is still here, which is kind of cool. Tecumseh engine's obviously not original. But there it is, 1956 RJ35. Came with the belt guard, came with a plow, but I'm not into plows, so I'm going to dump that probably. But this is the next little project, I think. I don't know if I'm going to do it this fall or this winter, but definitely earlier spring. Kind of a neat machine. I think I'll put a Kohler K90 on it. Clinton engines are starting to get a little harder to find. So the 1200s and the A1200s and the B1290s, they're getting a little harder to find. The K90s and the 91s are still fairly regularly available. You just got to make sure your bores are good, because the oversized pistons are like ridiculous money, even if you can find one. So there it is, 1956 RJ35, no name hood, iron steering wheel, beautiful front rims, brake kit. Just needs a little tender love and care. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Bye.